Before we get started, just as always, please understand that any advice in today's session is of a general nature only, and that your personal circumstances have not been taken into consideration. Okay? Alright, so let us get straight into it and have a look at what's happening. It is the first week of the month, as you all probably are quite familiar at this point. The first week is usually the heaviest week in terms of data. It starts off tomorrow for us over here in our markets. We already had a bit of China data and Australian data today for us, but tomorrow is the Rba Rate Statement. Okay, now this is an interesting one because all of a sudden, late towards last week and the latter part of the week, a lot of pressure has come on the Aussie to perhaps reduce their interest rates. Now, it wasn't as such, say 3 weeks ago, but this pressure's just built up very, very recent. And at the moment, I was reading something this morning. When they asked like 20 of the major analysts for major banks around the globe, it was a 30-70 decision. Okay, so 30% of them believe that they will drop the rates, 70% say no. Every other meeting, it's been 100% more or less that they're not going to drop the rates. So there is a chance that tomorrow on Melbourne Cup Day, okay, there will be a rate drop for the Aussie. Alright, now it has happened before on Melbourne Cup Day, so they tend to do these things. I don't know if everybody's in a giving nature and they want to give back, because it will offer hopefully relief for the mortgage driven population of Australia, on the proviso that banks drop their rates as well. So there is a chance tomorrow that the RBA may drop their rates, okay, which would basically, depends how much they drop, it could bring us to 1.75. Okay, so for a long time I haven't mentioned anything at the start of the month with the idea that maybe there could be an RBA rate drop. Okay, so tomorrow I believe there's probably about a 30% chance that it could happen. Still, the majority of people say no, but there has been a recent build up on the Aussie. Okay, the other major news that took place last week, which leads us into this week, is the Bank of Japan. Okay, the Bank of Japan pretty much came out last week and said we are not going to further increase our quantitative easing program. We are quite happy how it's traveling and the effect that it's had. Now, essentially, what that has done is virtually killed one trade. All right, the US yen, the US JPY trade was a trade that was fueled by two economies or two countries wanting to do the exact opposite thing of each other. Basically, where Japan wanted to weaken their currency because it's in their benefit, and that's why they introduced a quantitative easing program, and they were quite aggressive with it. And the US, they benefit more from having a stronger dollar, because basically in relation to how much they export compared to what they import, they buy everything rather than self-produce. So with that frame of thought, two economies wanting to do the exact opposite with each other basically signaled that the US yen was just going up and up and up, and it did for a very long time. And I was someone that was talking about we could be hitting like 128, 130 come Christmas time. And I think I said that around about April when we were at 106 or something really, really low. What happens to this equation now is this part of the equation is out of it, because Japan has basically just said we're not easing, okay, which basically means it's all up to the Fed Reserve. And the Fed Reserve has taken their time, they haven't increased their rates, and they keep holding off and holding off. So what the significance of what's happened is that long-term position trading, let's call them investors, are now starting to shy away from this trade and closing out their positions. Alright, so we've seen the US yen zigzag a little bit just in time, and I believe we still got a trade in there. I thought that we may have hit target or got stopped out because it went both ways so quickly, but I believe we're still in this trade. Okay, so keep that one in mind for anybody trading the US yen. Bank of Japan has basically said no more QE. Alright, the big one, the big announcement or the news that comes out this week, well, there's two. The major one is, of course, non-farm payroll and unemployment rates, which happens now. Remember, the US has gone into daylight savings, so it now happens at 12:30 Saturday morning. Okay, so we're essentially Friday past midnight. That is the big one. We also have on Thursday, which is the preview figures, and we have Miss Yellen mentioning or testifying, and interesting to see what she says based on those figures, how it sets up the big one down here. Alright, so non-farm payroll this week, and also we have the GBP with their bank rate decision. Now, essentially, it's a two-horse race at the moment as to who pulls the trigger first, whether the UK increases their rates before the US, or vice versa. Now, typically the UK follows the US, so I don't think, and most analysts don't think that they were going to get any change from a GBP this week when they give their interest rate decision. I believe that they will wait for the US to pull the trigger first, as most analysts as well. But we never know. If they do give us a number over here and they surprise the market, it will definitely surprise the market, and the market will move significantly. Okay, I think for this week, because of the nature and the amount of data that's coming out, really anything US pair is the one that's going to be affected. If I had to pick one out, I'm probably leaning towards the GBP USD. He's going to be the one that's the most data affected, but we've got an RBA announcement which could be quite impacting as well, so the Aussie USD is probably going to be one that's going to move a lot as well based on data. Okay, so that's what we have. Please note these times. They are in my local time, which is Sydney time, or Australian Eastern Standard Daylight Savings Time, and make an adjustment to wherever you are so that you know where they're from. Okay, let's bring our charts up. Let's have a look what's been happening, and let's see if we can find some trades. Okay, let's start off with Aussie Dollar. Alright, first of all, before I get stuck into it, I just wanted to have a quick look at what we had last week. Sorry, bear with me one moment. I just want to remember what we traded. Okay, we had a Euro USD trade which hit our target, and that's it. This trade here was not related to our class on Monday. It was just an EA that I had running and I've turned it off. Okay, so we just had that trade, and I believe we still got a live trade on the US yen. Alright, so Aussie dollar we had nothing. What I'm noticing on Aussie dollar, as you can all see right there, I'll zoom in a bit better, I'm getting a bit of a triangle forming. Ideally, I would have really liked this to go up to that level and then come down so that it has more of a touch. I don't like it when I get this at this level only. However, if I'm going to count the touches, that'll be my first touch, and that's my second touch for the top, and for the bottom I'll count this one and that one. Okay, I can also, yes, that is a third touch there, but because the other side didn't go to the other to there, I'm happy now that this is down to this level there. Alright, is everybody happy with this pattern? Does everybody like it? What do we think? And I'll show you when we pattern trade, sometime we have to manipulate our patterns, okay? And what we can do is, let me just zoom out a little bit. If this current price, say, drops down a little bit more, say to here, which it wouldn't surprise me if it does, alright, what we can do is we can adjust this line as long as I'm still kind of on these over here. So effectively, because this side didn't lock in up there, I'm not locking in my bottom line. I'm only counting this as my first touch and this one as my second. If it starts to move away, well then it's good, but if it drops down and hits me, well then I will adjust my line. The beauty of what we're doing is that since we're going to take a trade based on price action, it's not really going to affect us. Alright, 1 second, let me just drop this line a bit more so that I can adjust it. Does everybody know what I mean? Okay. This trade, if this line was locked in right there, is that a trade setup? Yes or no? I've got one person saying yes. Anybody else? Let me get rid of my mark. Is that a trade setup? Yes or no? If you don't know, just type in a question mark. You don't know. Okay, I've got quite a few question marks. It's confusing. A lot of people are really confused. Alright, if we are strict to our price action method, we can see that this candle here is not engulfing this one. Okay, so we don't, it's not an inside candle situation. Alright, so it's definitely not inside candle. Then we look at, is it a 3 candle sequence? If I include this candle, is it a 3 candle sequence? This candle does not get to the halfway mark, so it's not that either. The only other type that you could say is that maybe it's a body engulfing candle, alright, which is one that we do not take all the time in this class. It's not an engulfing, because if it was an engulfing it would start from lower, from here. Okay, so it's not engulfing, it's only body engulfing. Since we haven't been taking those types of trades, then if this market was to now move up, it's a trade that we would not have taken anyway. Does everybody agree? Even if it moves up, it's a trade that we have not been taking in any case. So what I'm trying to say is we're not getting harmed by this trade. So if all of a sudden this market now did this and put a candle, well, it doesn't have to be one candle, it could be a sequence of candles, but I'm just going to draw it as one, and let's say the candle was like that, all of a sudden then I could grab my line, and can everybody see that it still fits in nicely? And what I will look for next is I would look for then maybe a little inside candle there, and then I would look for the break of that for the trade in that direction. Does everybody understand what I've just drawn there? Sometimes when you do pattern trading, you've got to try and envision this 3 and 4 steps ahead. Alright, so don't get hung up that because I've got my line right here right now, as such, this is not a trade that we would have triggered anyway. So if this goes away from us, don't get upset by it. That's what I'm trying to say. Alright, so if it does go up, what are we going to do? We're going to look for the trade up here. We're going to look for it there, because the top line, I'm happy with the top line. I've got 2 touches, the top line is locked in. Okay, so if this starts to move up, I'm going to look for a price action setup at the top to come back down. Okay, everybody on the same page? So the plan here is as follows. If it moves up, alright, and it gets towards this top line in this area, we are going to look for a price action inside candle or an engulfing candle to shoot back down. Alright, if this now breaks down a little bit lower, as soon as we get another candle with a fractal, readjust your line. If it's still a valid line, then we're going to look for an inside candle back up. Did everybody get that? I know it's a little bit tricky, it's a little bit confusing, but when we do pattern trading, this is what we have to do, and this is why so many people find pattern trading difficult, because they draw their line and then they don't know how to readjust their line, and then what might happen is the line ends up being in the wrong place and the pattern doesn't work. Okay, alright, so the Aussie dollar, basically we're doing nothing. I'm going to leave the line drawn up here for now, but I will readjust it. If we drop down, I'll readjust it. If we go up, I'm going to try and take a short off this top line. Okay. Oh, of course, as well, if it goes up and breaks through like that, well, then I'm going to try and take a converging triangle trade. All right, and just to remind you how to do that, and probably I'm going to take the aperture from about here, and that's kind of the amount that I would do as my potential profit. Okay, so that's the plan, Aussie dollar. We've got a lot of data coming out this week, so we could well and truly break out of these ranges, and some of these trades could come up. But right now, where we are, I don't have a trade for us to place. Okay, let's move on. Euro USD. Okay, Euro USD. We were tracking a daily channel from memory. I must have wiped out my template here. Give me 1 second. Okay, yes, we were tracking a channel. Just reminding myself. And we took, that was the trade that we took. We took this breaking trade out. We entered off a pending order there. We had our stop about there, and we hit our target. Okay, so that was that. Let's see what we have cooking for us now. One moment. This was a really messy chart right now, guys. Anybody in T-Chaser on this trade? No? Okay. There was one right there where I've got my crosshair. Alright, so this chart is really messy. I can't see a trade at all on this one. It's really strange. Just give me 1 second. Give me one moment. I will find something. Okay, let's leave this one alone, guys. There's just nothing there. I'm really trying to see if I can squeeze something out of it. The only thing that I do, that I'll draw on my chart right now, and I'll get you guys to draw it on your chart as well, is I can see there's a hot spot here. Okay, right across here. So we've kind of, if the market was to come down into this area here, then start looking for a price action inside candle breakaway. Okay, don't look for the short. The short's going to be a little bit more difficult to trade because it's not one clear spot. They're all over the place. Look for the long if it comes down here. That's about it. So just mark it out on your charts. We could be there at the end of the week because of such the nature of the data coming out this week. All right, so Euro USD, I've got nothing for you. There's just nothing showing. Let's move on. Have a look at the GBP USD. Okay, this one's very clear. Notice how much cleaner this triangle is to the Aussie. I've got this line stretched out, but really the pattern starts from here. Alright, I've just extended it out just to see it, but essentially it goes from one end to the other, to the other, and to the other, and I've got the two touches that I need. And because of this candle being so long over here, and even if it depends how big this little candle turns out to be, I may have enough room. Let's say, for example, if this candle finishes that size there, that'll give me an inside candle, and then tomorrow I've got an opportunity to go here and it'll still leave me enough room to hit my target. Okay, if this one it ends up being like this, then I won't have the space that I need from here to here because the ratio, the reward to risk is all wrong on the trade. So if it's going to be a short, make sure that we get what we need. For all we know, what might happen is this candle ends up being like that, a nice bull candle, and then tomorrow we take the trade in that direction. Either way, we are right at the edge. We will know one way or another tomorrow which direction we have an opportunity to take this trade. Does that make sense to everybody? Is everybody clear on that? Yeah? Fantastic. Alright, so the GBP is pretty straightforward. It's a really clean pattern. I like this. The convergent triangles, I like them a lot. If I zoom out, it's a compressing market. The market is compressing, getting tighter and tighter. So if we get the breakout, we should get a good kick out of this. Okay, so I will make sure that I look at this one, and I'll try and send out a tweet message as soon as I see it set up. Okay, so just be alert for that so that you can pick it up as well. Okay, so GBP USD, we are on the fringe waiting for the current candle to finish, and it will show me the direction of the setup, whether we get a long or we get a short out of it. Okay, next, gold. Remember we talked about psychology a couple of weeks ago, and we took a trade and we didn't have the courage to stay in the trade. Look how much this trade has now moved. We picked this inside candle setup, and it would have hit all of our targets, and it was a much more than a 2-to-1 trade. Okay, the pattern's pretty strong. I really don't want to do anything where it is right now. There's only one thing that I'd like to do is I need to wait for it to get to this region down here, and then I'm looking for an inside candle in this direction, or an engulfing, or the big bear candle in this direction is also valid. Where we are right now, it's best just to leave it alone. And for those of you who don't trade gold, also remember that with gold it is a larger trade than with a currency trade. So for some of you, there's too much risk on the table, so I understand that you don't trade gold. Nevertheless, it's something that I always look at, and the patterns, as we've seen, we tend to get some nice success out of it as well. Alright, so gold right now, let's just leave it. and hopefully it heads towards this region that we've marked out on our chart. Once we're there, we'll see if we can get a setup trade to occur for us. Okay, so that's it. That's all I got on gold. Let's move on. US yen. Okay, decision making time, guys. US yen, obviously you can see from my chart that last week we took that trade right there, inside candle on the fringe of a congested region. Okay, we took the trade at the break of the candle. It went in our direction a little bit, zigzag back up, came back, did this, and we are right here right now. So what I want to ask, the question is, first of all, who's in this trade? Can I just get a show of hands, who's still live in this trade? 1, 2, I've got 2 people in. Anybody else? 3. That's it. We just got 3, 4 people. Who saw the trade but decided not to take it? Guys, can I just get a show of hands? So who saw it but just decided not to take it? Okay, 1, 2, okay, 3, 4. All right, there's about 30 people in the room, just to let you know the numbers. Somebody took it but closed it out early as well. Okay, all right. So just it's interesting. The reason I give you feedback on who's doing what is because I like to use our little group over here as sample space and as to what 30 other people are thinking and how the market behaves. And you can already start to see some people have the stronger mindset that are still in the trade. Some people saw it, decided not to take it. Some people took the trade, closed it out early. All right, so let's have a vote. Should I close out the trade right now? Is the trade still valid? What should we do? I need everybody to vote. Okay, so give me a yes for staying in, or give me a no for closing out. Who wants to close it? Okay, I'm tallying it up. I'm 50-50 right now. Okay, some people are not sure. Some people close it out. It is a big news week. Did Japan announcement help us on the trade, or did it not help us? Okay, one person's got the answer, 2 people got the answer. It helped us, okay? Because Japan weakening caused this to drop back down. We were heading here, getting close to stop out territory, and then it pulled us back down. Okay, so that helped us. So if for this trade to be good and hit target, do we need good non-farm numbers or bad non-farm numbers? Think about the question. Good non-farm or bad non-farm? Okay, I've got 50-50 on both. Some people aren't confused. Okay, first of all, if you get good non-farm numbers, what does that mean for the US dollar? If good non-farm numbers basically means the US dollar gains in strength. So what will happen to our US yen trade? Our US yen trade will go up, and we're short. Okay, so for our trade to play out, we need bad non-farm pay numbers. All right. Now, what's probably going to happen this week is this may just go like this and just wait until the end of the week and then just go all the other way. Okay. So based on that, and most of you, I'm 50-50, so half of you are telling me to close it, half want it in, so let's close it out. Okay, let's close this trade out. Give me 1 second. So we pick up 23 pips on the trade. Done. Okay, so there we are. So we're sitting at 5327 at the moment. Okay, so it was a good week. It's actually that Euro USD was a really good trade for us. All right, so let's see if I can find another trade. Give me one moment. There's just nothing here on this chart. This chart is the messiest chart out of the lot. It's just zigzagging and zigzagging, doesn't know which direction it wants to go. Hopefully after non-farm this week, it'll give us a bit more clarity and start to show us something for next week. Okay, if we come down here and we're in this area next Monday after non-farm payroll, I will be looking for this trade again. Okay, and especially depending what they say, what the number comes out at. All right, so if it drops down and somehow we're here, it could give us a trade for next week. But this week we're done. We just closed out, so let us move on. All right, Euro Yen. Were we looking at this? Oh, we were looking. We didn't trade Euro Yen last week, and we were trying. Okay, I remember. Give me 1 second. This is actually because a few of you got a bit concerned. Some of you took the trade short. Okay, I know that some of you are in this trade short off the breakout of the triangle, which is a legitimate trade. Entered right there. Very courageous trade because after this big candle, and look what's happened. It moved quite a fair distance down. Okay, so I know that some of you are short. However, what I had marked out this hotspot region, and I said, let's see if we get a setup to go back up. And some of you raised a bit of concern because we were already short in one direction. And why am I looking for a trade in the opposite direction? Now, I didn't take this trade because I had already taken it on something else. So for me, I had no trades open. So when I don't have a trade open, I look at the chart as neutral as I can. Okay, so and I was looking for price action, but see, price action never came. So it gave me the protection that I needed, so I did nothing. Alright, so that's all I wanted to show you, that don't be afraid to look for the trade in the other direction. Price action will give you more protection than you actually realize. Alright, I'm so surprised at how often that it does provide you with that edge. Okay, so that's gone. Let me get rid of all this. I can see this now. It's not a parallel channel, it is a falling wedge. Let me get rid of the hotspot. Okay, and it's a legitimate. We got 1, 2, 3 touches. We got 1, 2, 3 touches at the top. It is a legitimate falling wedge. How do we trade a falling wedge? Essentially, we're allowed to trade in, okay, like that, and we're allowed to trade which one? This way, guys, breakout, or breaking out that way. I'll call that number 1 and number 2. Up. No, not both. You're not allowed to trade a break this direction. So let me clarify it, because there's 3 ways we can trade a falling wedge. We can trade inside in both directions, and when we break out of the wedge, to trade it correctly, you have to trade it against the gradient. Okay, the gradient is going in this direction, so therefore that is the only other way. This trade down here is not a falling wedge trade. Alright, so those are the 3 directions that you can trade this thing. Alright, so let's see if we can get something right now. Let me zoom in a little bit. Well, this trade's we didn't get a setup. Okay, there's no inside candle, there's no um, engulfing candle there, and there's not even a 3 candle sequence to give us the opportunity to trade. Now, lots of people like to trade just because it comes to the line. Okay, now if that's part of your rules, that's fine. But for me, price action gives me much more protection, so I'm not trading, and I've got nothing there. So the only thing that's left for me is I have to now wait to see what happens up here. And it's funny that I say I have to wait to see what happens up there, and many people say, well, why don't I trade it all the way up there? Well, like I said, if you're happy to trade it just based off the line, that's fine. But I'm not, because if it doesn't get up there, well, then nothing happens. What might happen is that this just drops through there, and then there's no trade, and then I just go look for something else. All right. So as it stands right now, I'm hoping it goes up here, and when and if it does, I will look for price action trade that way, or a break-in trade in that direction. All right, everybody clear with our game plan for the euro yen? Yes, fantastic. Thank you. All right, so let's move on. I'm hoping I can take a trade here somewhere today. Kiwi Dollar. Okay, this is an interesting one. I just wanted to show it to you, and I just wanted to see if you guys think, what do you think of this kind of channel? All right. Now I'm really trying my hardest to squeeze it in. So let's. That's about as good as I can get it. Let me zoom in, and let's see what you guys think of that. Is it good? Is it no good? Like, that's a good touch. That's shot through a little bit. That's shot through a little bit. That's a good touch, and that's a good touch. What do we think? Do we accept it? Are we happy with it? Okay, yep. Okay, unanimous. Everybody's happy with it. All right, so let's see what we can get out of it. All right, this was an inside candle. Okay, what I want to see is if I had traded, if I had seen this pattern, 2 candles earlier. I'm on a 4-hour pattern, by the way, so I'm on a 4-hour. Would I be in this trade or would I not be in this trade? I would be in it. Great. Right. Look where we are right now, and look, the trigger would have been right there. So based on that, the stops over there, we haven't been stopped out yet. Who wants to take the trade? I'm probably like 4 hours late on it. However, or actually, yeah. So I'm late on the trade. However, it hasn't been stopped out. So I need a vote, and then I'll place it if it's yes or no. So let me know. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Somebody wants me to check stochastics on it. Okay. Just remember, I don't know what the stochastic is going to show me on this. Don't be deterred by it. I purely trade it based on price action and the channel. The channel is far stronger than any indicator. Okay, So a support line and resistance line, believe it or not, is much stronger than an indicator. You know why? Because they're easier to see. More people see them. Alright, so let's put on a stochastics just for the exercise. We're way up on this stochastic as well, and there's probably a little bit of divergence there too. Feel happier about this trade, guys? Oh, let me check. Let me check with the MACD. Give me a sec. The the divergence is not quite confirmed. What you got to do is you got to follow this line. Imagine it just to help you. So I'm comparing this point with this point, and over here it's going down, and over here it's slightly going up. It's not confirmed yet because it hasn't turned red, but there is it looks like they've, if this channel holds, the divergence will be there 100%. Okay, so that's a yes. Everybody, only one person said no. Okay, Stephen, your reasons are valid, and if that's in your trading plans, that's fantastic. Okay, so all right, so here we go. My stop's going to be about, let's make it 30. 30, and let's risk, how much I want to risk on this? Let's risk 50 bucks. No, let's risk $100 per trade. Give me a sec. 100 divided by 30, $3.30. So let's trade 0.3. 68. I'll adjust my target in one moment. Okay, I'm going in at market. I'm in. Okay, and what am I looking for? It's a 33, so I'm going to go for about 60 pips. I've pretty much got it exactly with about 60 pips there. Alright, does everybody understand what we just did? This is the summary. I took a 0.3 trade because that's going to risk me about $100. I just worked it out roughly. I got in at 67.66.2. My stop is at 68.007. My target is 67.007. Well, that's a coincidence. Okay, so we're in. All clear? Anybody have any questions on that? And remember, when you get to the one-to-one, if you want to do something, please don't let your winning trade turn into a complete losing trade. Okay? All right. We'll leave that there. Euro Aussie. Okay, the Euro Aussie on a 4-hour channel as well. Does that look good, that channel, guys? Linda, I don't use the mini terminal simply just to keep my my mathematics up to scratch. Okay, but by all means, you guys use it. Okay, so the channel's pretty good. All right, so let's see what we got. I'm happy to take a trade here if I can find one. Give me one moment and zoom in. If I had seen this one 2 hours earlier, would I be in a trade? Yes or no? Okay, Yes, unanimous. Great. This time the trade would have been as such. These two candles, there's the one with the fractal, okay? It is engulfing, so let's call that candle number 2. Candle number 2 is engulfing candle number 1, so it's an engulfing pattern. Alright, so if I'd traded this, I would have got in at that level. The price right now is this level. Who's interested in taking this trade? Let me measure out the stop. It's going to be about 150 pips. Who's interested in this trade? Okay, got a lot of people interested in it. Yes, yes. Only one person is not. Okay. All right. Do we want to go in at market, or shall we try and get a cheaper entry? Try getting off a pending order. What do we think? Okay, I've got 1 at market, 2 at market. Okay, all right, market. Market it is, so let me size it up. My stop is going to be approximately, let's call it 150. I'm going to call it 150, so my $100 divided by 150 pips. I have to trade at 60 cents per pip. And that's going to be exact because this is Euro Aussie. So trading, new order, 66 cents to be precise, but I'm going to trade at 60 cents. Is that, yeah, that's correct. 0.6. My stop, 155.95, 55.95, and my target 52. I'll adjust it in one moment if it's not correct. Here we go, 06, and we're in. Okay, the stop is good. It's about 146. Okay, I'm not quite at 2 to 1. Alright, and I know I'm in a channel and I've got more room. Sometimes I try to stay just above there. Okay, so when the market gets to that area, I'll monitor a little bit and see how I go with the trade. Alright, but for right now, I'll just give you the numbers of what I've got. Went in at market at 154.46 4. My stop is 155.95 My target is 152.094. Okay, now you see that I'm sized up on this trade at 60 cents per pip, so that's going to give me about $100 risk on this trade. The other one's 30 cents, well, it's actually which is going to give me about $100 risk as well. All right, any questions on that? All right, just if anybody has any question off topic, whatever it is, please type them in. Let me review what we've done for the session. Aussie dollar, we can't get a trade off that line right now. There's no trade there, so we're waiting to see if we need to adjust the bottom line a little bit, or if not, and it moves up, we're going to look for a short up in that direction. Up there, we're going to look for, we'll look for a short or a break. So we'll be looking for that or that if we get into that direction. Okay. Euro USD. Euro USD is the puzzling one this week. There's nothing really there, so we're not touching it. All I've done is marked out our hotspot to just have a look to see if anything shows up in that area. GBP USD, really nice converging triangle. Let's wait till tomorrow and see what this candle ends up looking like. We may get an inside candle, or this candle may be a breaking candle. Either way, tomorrow 9 a.m. we will have our answer and we can see how we play this one out. gold. We're trading inside the channel. We're in no man's land really right now. So let us wait till we get to the bottom of the channel so that we can get a bit more direction and see if we can get a set up the trade that way. Okay. US yen, we just closed out a trade, US yen, and at the moment we don't have anything, so let's just leave it for this week. Euro yen, we've got a falling wedge pattern occurring. We did not get a setup over here, so we're going to see if this comes back up here and either we get that trade or this trade. Okay. Finally, oh no, not finally, Kiwi Dollar, we just took a short inside candle off the top of a channel, so we are short Kiwi Dollar. And finally, Euro Aussie, we took a short on the Euro Aussie. These two trades kind of are they're kind of anti-hedging themselves, okay? But nevertheless, we just trade what we see. All right, so we're short Euro Aussie as well in this direction. Any questions? Question been asked, do we have to close out our US yen? My trading rules don't allow me to touch it. No, Rav, you stick to your trading rules, okay? I just put it out to the group. I just try and find the trades on the Mondays, and I try to get your involvement to see what we should do with it. So if your rules say stay on it, stay on that US yen. Okay? Any other questions? We're all good? Alright, so this week we will continue to work with trend-based strategies. We covered the T-Chaser last Thursday, so we'll keep on working on, I'll show you a different strategy, but we're still working on trends. I believe like if the Fed makes their decision, we could swing into a really nice trend on the market. So this is why I'm kind of falling back towards it, and it could happen in December for the next meeting. Okay, so other than that, if you have a question, as usual, just send me the screenshot with your question. Respond back to the invite that you get from me, and I will answer that for you. Other than that, I hope you all have a fantastic week, and I will see you all on Thursday. Bye for now.